Good evening and welcome to Muse on the News. I'm Lisa.
I'm Kel.
I'm Molly.
I'm Jana.
And for those of you who haven't watched Muse on the News before, what we do is we each bring a news article to the table and we discuss it. So we try and cover a range of topics in the hope that we'll make you laugh and maybe make you think a little bit as well. So how are you girls?
We're very well, thank you.
Very good. I just can't stop giggling. I don't know why. When we did the intro, you just such a lovely couple of lovebirds on that picture, and it always makes me giggle. Makes me happy.
That's kind. Do you know what else makes me happy?
What's that?
Birthdays. It's Molly's birthday today.
Merry birthday, Molly.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, happy birthday.
She's big 3-4.
3-4. Yep. Yeah, I know.
She's got I'm
excited. Plans for the rest of the evening?
I'm not sure actually. Hopefully some nice food and maybe some cake.
You never know.
Nice.
Gotta have a bit of cake on your birthday.
Is Jana making you a cake?
No, girls, you are making the cake.
Well, that would be a birthday surprise.
That could be a cook along.
It could be a cook along. Yeah.
Maybe. We should
One
do
thing I haven't done.
bake-off.
Yeah, a bake-off. There's an episode.
We haven't done a bake-off yet.
Well, we did our Nutella Christmas tree, didn't we?
That's true. That was a disaster.
That was a fail.
It wasn't, because you can't fail with pastry and Nutella.
No.
There's no failure involved.
That's true. It tasted amazing.
We shall bank that idea for another time.
Yeah.
Right, but now we're going to talk about the news. So
should we talk about our first story?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
So our first story was selected by you, Molly. And just find this, and this is a lovely story. So why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so I saw this article in Happy Full Fantastic magazine, and it's a big thank you to all the pets that have helped us cope through lockdown, through last year, and actually are really helping us now as well as we've gone into a third lockdown. So it talks about your normal kind of cats, dogs, and then your snakes, your reptiles, whether you've got a pony in the garden or a horse,
or a
who knows, whatever you've got. Badger, fox, any animal you've got. I think.
What?
An axolotl.
It's an axolotl.
I'll find a picture of an axolotl for the next episode.
Yeah, I'd love to see what one of those
things.
So this is telling us what I think a lot of us already know, but how animals really can be very therapeutic for us. Not only do they calm us down, but they also give us that routine, you know, something to get up for in the morning, something to feed, maybe something to walk, give us a bit of structure to our day. And I think whether we've been at home and actually we need that little bit of motivation, a little bit of comforting, or we've been out all day and then we get home and we've got somebody to welcome us. So there's just no end of reasons why you should have a pet.
Absolutely, we should definitely get one. At the moment, I have Molly to stroke until she purrs. Occasionally, we snatch an odd cat from the street.
For the watershed, we're going to have to put a thing now.
Right.
So, girls, you have 3 cats. Do you find them good therapy?
We've got Maliki and Tony and Frank, and they are therapy in their own special ways. We've got
therapy.
We've got a grumpy one who is on anti-anxiety drugs because he's a lunatic.
He could do with a bit of therapy himself.
We've got one now. We literally have to replace all the carpet on our landing upstairs because he's ripped it all up trying to get into people's bedrooms when they've locked him out. And then we've got Maliki, who's absolutely perfect and never does anything wrong at all ever because he's brilliant.
According to Cal. Just because he's the favourite.
But you know what? They are therapy and they do make you feel better, don't they? Just when they come and say hello and it does sort of dissipate negativity. I think you can be having the worst day and then, you know, one of our cats jumps up and says hello and it all kind of washes away and makes everything better, doesn't it?
Yeah. And there's loads of health benefits for having a cats in particular. Maybe I only am aware because we've got cats, but you know, they're very good for that calming effect. And if you've got things like high blood pressure and stuff, it's good for regulating your heartbeat and things like that. So yeah, I love having cats. I'd like a dog.
We will get a dog when we retire.
Yes, that's very wise. I like that, Kel.
The
Big
thing
responsibility.
about cats is they're independent and they don't need walking. That's why we've got the children. They don't need walking either.
You're
Our
right. A
children
dog
are-
really.
don't know us. Our children are like very independent now.
Yes,
We don't need
and
to.
that they leave less hair around the house than the cats. So there's added health benefits and tidiness benefits to having children.
But not always maybe as therapeutic as a cat. And also fantastic if you live alone as well, actually. Having somebody or something to talk to, isn't it? And actually just gets, you know, you can get a little bit inside your head sometimes, and getting it out and talking to an animal actually can really, really help.
I have full-blown conversations with the cats.
We've seen it.
We've done a lot of volunteering over these last few months for COVID relief stuff, and there's a little old lady that we deliver stuff to and visit, and when we ring her up to ask her what she needs, she never ever ever asks us for anything for herself. All she wants us to do is to bring cat food for her cats, and these cats are her life and her utmost priority. And of course we bring her loads of stuff for her too, but her first concern is always the animals.
Don't worry about me, dear. Just
Yeah.
feed the cats.
Oh, that's so important to them, isn't it?
It is, but
She lives by herself, and she's 90 odd, and yeah, it's lovely that she has that in her life, I think.
They're proper relationships, though, aren't they? Like, you know, relationships you have with pets and animals. They are really meaningful relationships.
they are. But then these old people, when they lose their animals, it's so sad because they are so attached to them, aren't they? It's heartbreaking sometimes. I've seen a few
I
old
think she's
people.
got about 6. I reckon that's
she's a crazy.
It'll be all right then.
136 cats.
But it is like losing a child. Well, maybe not quite on the same, but for somebody, you know, especially if it lives 14, 15 years and you've just been the two of you, then that relationship's really strong.
Listen, our cats are like, you know, they are like our children. And Maliki, the oldest cat, he was really poorly a couple of years ago. We nearly lost him, and we were devastated, weren't we? You know, and they do become members of your family, and that's exactly how it should be. You know, you need, if you own a pet, it needs to be part of your family and as much of a priority as the rest, I think.
Because they are good for your health, because the news said so.
Yes.
Absolutely. I just love how Kel always changes her voice when she speaks to the cat. It's hilarious. It's like a different accent of voice.
Yeah. So Maliki's American and Frank's from the West Country, and Tony just sounds like a spaced out lunatic.
It's fantastic.
It's important. If they had the same voice, how would you know who was talking to you?
Exactly.
And it's great for me that they vocalize through Kel, because I can have full-on conversations with them.
You can know what they need then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
Although
Makes
when
total
Tony's staring at me, it's not brilliant.
Tony does swear quite a lot, but you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's hilarious. We should do a show on this. We should just bring your cats on and let Kel have a conversation with the cats.
Never work with children or animals.
No, but I think actually at some point in the near future we might get to have some conversations with Sarah's horses, so that will be cool.
Yeah,
Oh, that would be cool.
I've never had a conversation with a horse. I've said hi in passing,
Yeah.
but I've never had a full-blown conversation with a horse. I don't know what they're into.
Oh, see, I've spoken to a couple down Sarah's yard. Very interesting. Yeah, definitely worth doing it.
You found that a lot, didn't you?
Yeah.
Girls, we've got to move on. This is just
ridiculous.
Right, so should we move on to Jana's story then?
yes.
Yeah.
Please do.
So this is a fantastic story about an LGBT shelter that has opened in Krakow. Do you want to tell us about this?
Yeah, this is from my end of the world, and it's another little step in the right direction for Poland, especially. Krakow has become the first city in Poland to finance an LGBT support shelter, which is amazing. I think the temporary accommodation offers psychological help for the LGBT, up to 12 LGBT homeless people, and that's incredible. It's not massive, but you know, it's a little step in the right direction, and it's great. I think they've been given something like 40,000, equivalent to 40,000 euros, which they're saying is going to last them for a couple of years. And you know, what a great thing, because you can imagine in Poland, LGBT people need help. and we all know why.
It's incredible to see local authorities doing things like this when the position of the government seems to be so, anti-LGBT and reversing the rights left, right, and centre. So to see things like this popping up is it's got to feel positive, right, for the residents and for the people that are living in Krakow.
Absolutely. I'm not actually aware if they have such a thing in Slovakia, but I'm sure they could do with a shelter for, that could help LGBT people, especially the ones that are without homes, because in Slovakia it's quite normal. If you tell your family you're gay, well, you're out. Goodbye.
Yeah, and in such a changing climate as well, your winters are like proper winters, aren't they? And summers are really hot. So actually living on the street is not ideal. I find like it's just that little bit of hope in the small communities, isn't it? It's like kind of grassroots organisations starting from the ground up and kind of more independent, because like we say, the government as a whole has gone sort of backtracked on quite a lot of human rights issues lately. But if you've got a local community or a mayor or a councillor that's getting on board with something like this, and it's giving those people a real glimmer of hope that actually somebody's listening to them, and maybe they don't need the shelter, but maybe they are gay, and actually just to see that someone's standing up for their community is, I think it's really heartwarming. It's a really nice story. And it's nice to see that it's not all negative, is it? There are always some positives.
Yeah, I think it's really reassuring for the community. I think that idea that they're just not going to comply on a local level. They're not going to comply with what the national government is saying, because actually they're human beings and they have compassion for other human beings. And I think that is a real positive thing. I just think it'd be brilliant to see more of it in other countries where rights are being rolled back as well.
I think what is encouraging is the fact that there are local leaders and people in positions of power that are prepared to stick their neck on the line and step up to the parapet and to actually to assist these things, because it does go to show that this huge left, this huge right-wing movement and this anti-LGBT stance, it isn't a nationwide feeling. It just happens to be the government of the day, and there are people that truly believe in equal rights, and there are people that are prepared to fight for those equal rights, and these are going to be the people that are vying for positions of power in the future, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just,
this is a shelter for homeless LGBT people, but I'm hoping that perhaps there are more support groups, just LGBT support groups, more than one. I hope, because it is a big country.
Yeah, obviously. And when you're not there, you don't always hear about these little organisations and the little charities that are actually doing good. And you imagine whether actually the press that we hear about, whether that is the main word across the whole country and actually standing up against these people, actually, is that a really scary thing that they're doing? And what's the backlash from that's going to be? That's the feeling we get. Or is that just the way that the media represents it? You just can never get a true picture, can you?
Well, knowing government work, I'm absolutely certain that it won't be without consequence for the local authority in Krakow. I'm sure that there will be consequences from that funding decision, but I think it's the right decision to make, and well done.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Fantastic. Yeah,
definitely. Nice story, Jana.
Yeah,
very good find.
Okay, so we're going to move on now. We'll move on to my story, shall we, girls?
Yeah, this is a good one.
So I found this in Pink News, and yet again, Scotland have done it. They have recently announced that they will not be taking any notice of Westminster's decision to make it incredibly difficult for young people to get puberty blockers, and they will still be adhering to the guidelines and the procedures that they were using previously. They don't believe that there should be any more red tape or any more difficulties for young people that need puberty blockers. They understand that it is a very time-bound and time-urgent, time-sensitive procedure that needs to be kicked off as soon as possible. And again, Scotland leading the way really in terms of LGBT rights in the UK at the moment. I think this is absolutely incredible.
Isn't it? Once again, Scotland, like you said, leading the way, kind of putting their head above the parapet, just like the group in Poland. They're coming out against Westminster again, and actually making us quite disappointed in London. I think actually I'm feeling like,
I want to pack my bags and move to Scotland. We love Scotland. It's beautiful, and it's got Nicola Sturgeon in charge, which is one strong, powerful woman, unlike our wonderful leader down here. I forget what his name is. But yeah, Scotland. I'll move tomorrow.
Like you were saying, Kelly, it's such a time-sensitive issue, isn't it? It's, and young people going through adolescence, they've got so much going on in their head. They're trying to figure out so much. And if you can just give, and we're not talking about massive numbers, it just need that little bit of time to just figure out where they're at. And if you can, and I mean, to try and put a young person through court and through lots of proceedings and years, I mean, it's still a long wound out procedure, isn't it? But if you can kind of reduce it as much as you can, then I think it's fantastic. Absolutely.
Yeah, go Scotland. Go Poland and go Scotland.
No, a lot of people tend to get their knickers in a twist when they hear puberty blockers. And just to be really clear, it's not going to do anything long term. All it does is buy time. It just gives that young person time to explore and really, consider options, without having, the effects of puberty changing their bodies perhaps in a way that they don't wish for it to be.
Puberty in the wrong body has got to be an incredibly painful thing to experience.
Yeah, and of course you stop puberty blockers and then puberty will commence, and I think we need to relax. I just think we need to relax about it and let our young people really have some time to figure themselves out if they need it.
What people need to relax about is actually the fact that it's not, you can't just stroll into a gender clinic and say, I'll give some of these and walk out with a prescription. There's still a really lengthy process and a lot of hard work that goes into it, and it is a difficult procedure. And what the Scottish are saying is they don't want to make it any more difficult by putting it in front of a judge. These aren't going to be specially trained judges. These are going to be people that already have their own prejudices and people that don't necessarily understand what it is or what the decision is that they're being asked to make. And I think, we don't need that extra layer of difficulty for our young people.
Exactly. I know some of the kids I've worked through that have gone through these processes, and it's not just about getting drugs as well. There's a lot of support and counselling alongside it. And I think you do start, I think it's about 6 months of puberty, because it kind of needs to kick in for the blockers to then work effectively. So actually then you don't have that lasting damage afterwards, and you can completely reverse, like you say, and go through puberty if that's what you decide to do. But it just gives that time, and it gives that professional support as well, so you can actually figure out what's going on
in your head around it,
and how you're really feeling.
Yeah, it's a lifesaver for some young people, and I think it's a great move by Scotland yet again.
Yeah, leading the way. It's fantastic. Go Scotland.
Okay, so our final piece, should we move on to Lisa's incredible story that she's found? I think I've seen this in the news recently. Do you want to talk us through this?
Yeah, I don't think we could do this week's News on the News without talking about the happenings in Washington last week, where a mob who were riled up at a campaign, well, not campaign rally, but a rally held by Donald Trump, where he told them not to give up the fight, to continue to fight, to be activists. And unfortunately, he incited insurrection, and a mob stormed the Capitol. They managed to breach the building. They got inside and they caused untold damage throughout the whole building. The senators and everybody else had to be evacuated. Mike Pence, who's the vice president, he had serious death threats made against him. He had to be taken away very, very quickly. There was threats to have him hung from a tree outside the Capitol. Absolutely horrendous. However, amidst all of that chaos, these images of Andy Kim, who's a representative at the Capitol. I think he's Jersey. Is he
Senator for Jersey.
New Jersey, yeah.
And of Korean descent. His parents came to the United States, and he was born there. And his contribution to the day was to stay in the building, and he cleared up everything. He cleared the mess, and he was just so disheartened and disillusioned by what had happened, and he turned it into a positive by doing the only thing that he felt that he could at the time, and that was to try and restore some order to the building, which has always been revered as the center of democracy of the United States of America, and to see it in the state that it was in was just, you know, incredibly sad, I think, for anybody who has an interest in politics. To see it that day was just, I was dumbfounded, and we stayed up half the night watching it because I just couldn't tear myself away, and made you stay up as well.
On the other hand, I couldn't watch it. I just,
but you know, what a man to stay and do that job. You know, many others in his position would perhaps deem that job to be way beneath them, but not this man. And he got straight stuck in, and filling up bags to be taken away, packing away personal belongings, tidying offices, putting things back where they belong, you know, restoring that law and order as it should have been in that building.
Stands for everything that's the opposite of Donald Trump.
Yeah,
fantastic human being for doing that.
Just, you know, he must have just felt so sad. I can't even imagine how he was feeling that day, to have those people come into a space that he's just worked so hard to get there, and to represent the people of New Jersey, and he's so proud of his job, and then actually for them to come in and just have no respect for the building, will come out and pick up the pieces, because he believes that actually, you know, it is democracy, and he wants that way of life to continue, and you know, they've done something that's not great, but you know, he's going to clear up. And actually, like you say, that so many people would think that's beneath them because of the place they hold in government now, but actually he was quite happy, I think, for hours and hours, wasn't he? Just bags and bags, sticking it up. And then I think he went and did a vote as well. He was there for like 30 odd hours or something. He must have been exhausted, but I feel like he's come from such kind of humble beginnings and from immigrant parents, and he's worked his way up, and that's where he feels that he can represent people. And fantastic man. We need more people like him.
Definitely a lot less people like Donald Trump.
Yeah, he would be the kind of person that Donald Trump would be, you know, speaking against, saying, you know, American jobs for American people and no immigration and things like this. And yet he's the man that was trying to clear it up and fix it, and you know, sweep away the trail of destruction left by the crazy folk that actually managed to get in. It's good to see that there's been lots of arrests following that.
I think it's up to 80 something arrests now, which is really, really, really good. And I saw as well that they'd no flight orders on people, so they weren't allowed to leave Washington either. They have to stay and face the consequences of their actions, which is absolutely as it should be. And it'll be very interesting to see what happens with President Donald Trump in his last few days of office, whether he'll see out those last few days, whether he'll have to hand over the reins to Mike Pence, or whether impeachment will happen after Joe Biden takes office. I don't know, but Donald Trump is not going to the inauguration. Joe Biden seems particularly happy about that. Mike Pence will go, and he'll provide the traditional handshake and symbolize the handover of power. But
Trump's not going quietly, is he?
What an end to an incredible time in American politics.
It's a shame if that's how he wants it to end, you know, because you kind of think, be the bigger person and admit defeat. And we've kind of said this for weeks now with the election, but to not stand there and hand over the reins to the next person gracefully.
I think I was listening to, because I was working night shift, and on the way home I was listening to LBC, and actually there was a piece where he was talking, and actually he was being quite nice for once, and he was saying that he's going to hand stuff over in a orderly
because
fashion.
he's afraid now. He's afraid the consequences of him being impeached are significant.
He's scared,
you know, in terms
because he would lose so many bonuses, wouldn't he? And I hope he does. I really hope he does.
Lose all of that, but also I think it's much easier then for him to face criminal prosecution for the crimes that he's committed.
Well, he can face that once he leaves office, but it would mean certain things, like, so if he's impeached, then he won't be able to run for office again. He'll lose his Secret Service detail. He'll lose his travel allowance. He'll lose his pension. President's pension. He loses a lot of things which people perhaps feel that their tax dollars shouldn't be spent on, and his position, you know, isn't entitled to and doesn't deserve, because he's destroyed his own legacy. And when we look at we see Democrats handing over to Republicans and vice versa, I don't think actually in history there's ever been a president that's refused to attend an inauguration or refused to speak with and to support the incoming president. And in terms of destroying his own legacy, he's already done it, hasn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're just behaving like a child, and you can't behave like that. You're president of the United States of America. You can't behave like a child, and that's exactly what he's been doing. So
it's really sad to see how he's really divided the country, because, like you say, whoever's in power, you should kind of try and bring your country together, and you want to move that country forward, whether everybody's for you or against you. You're all living and contributing to a country, and he seems to have really tried to put that divide down there and make people fight against each other. And I don't think anybody in power should be doing that.
Nearly every single statement that Joe Biden's given since becoming president-elect, he said, regardless of whether or not you voted for me, I will spend every day of my presidency working to make your life better.
Yeah.
And that's what the role is, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's an awful lot of, it's a real cliche, but there's an awful lot of healing to be done in that country. It is, as you say, extremely divided, and we're divided here, unfortunately, as well. Where you can literally, draw the Brexit line across a page, and we could, go either side of it. And there's the state of global politics is an interesting one, and maybe a conversation for another day. But yeah, lots of interesting times ahead, I think, for America and for the UK as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the relationship between.
It's interesting that it's been this same period of time, the Brexit 4 years and Trump 4 years, and it's two big countries kind of gone a little bit down the hill.
And our Boris and Donald, they were relying on each other a little bit to shore each other up. And from a Brexit point of view, I think we've been very lucky to get the trade deal that we have, rubbish as it is, but it's better than no deal at all. But I think that's on a wing and a prayer, and I think it was just so close to us not getting anything. And I think if we had no trade deal and Donald Trump wasn't in office, we would be in a absolutely perilous position, even more perilous than we're already in. Anyway,
on the British to go for that trade deal. I'm sure if Trump had won the election and won a second term, then Boris's approach to the EU trade negotiations would have been really rather different.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, we'll never know. Luckily, we got something.
No, right, and we digress slightly. Right, we're done with that one. Do you want to be my Debbie McGee?
Can I please be Debbie McGee?
So, just before we go, I just wanted to mention this piece in this month's Diva. So, second Diva back in print since its break over COVID year. There we go. Very nice, lovely. And it is a piece written by Carrie, and it's called Dear Quarantine, and it's about a campaign run by Dear Quarantine, a campaign run by two women, and they're producing a living history project, really. So they want people to write their stories of coming out or their stories of realizing that they had feelings for women, in letter form to Dear Quarantine, and all of these will be compiled into a living history project, potentially a book as well, and you can contribute to this. All of us can contribute to this if we want. I think it's a lovely project. What do you think, girls?
Absolutely, I might do it actually.
I think we should.
It'd be fascinating to read so many different stories from different generations, to put them all together, and just what a thing to be able to look back on as well. Really nice idea.
It'll be very different.
We do the website because Lisa always worries that she'll get it wrong or you won't understand her terribly thick accent. So it's dearqueerantine.com, which is DearQueerantine.com. So dearqueerantine.com. Visit that website for more details. Get involved with the project. It looks fantastic.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing some of those contributions. I think it'll be hilarious and an emotional roller coaster, I think, funny and sad and everything in between, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, fantastic.
Well done, those girls. Great project, and well done to Diva for bringing it to our attention. And pick it up if you can. Really good magazine. You can get it in most shops now. You can subscribe. There's also online content too. There's some good articles in it this week, and there's one in particular which I really like. Let me see if I can. Oh yeah, this one. Do you recognise this face, girls?
Oh yes.
Yeah. So the
Saran Jones.
Yeah, Saran Jones playing. So Gentleman Jack is on the way back to our screens, but it's a really interesting article about a lady whose wife works in the NHS, and she really needed to draw on some strength. And what she did was she thought to herself, well, what would Anne Lister do in this situation? So really good article, and nice to see Saran Jones and Gentleman Jack getting a mention. And
looking forward to Gentleman Jack coming back.
Yeah,
I haven't read this one. It's one we get every month. That and Happy Fool that we did article from earlier. Really fantastic well-being magazine. I really like Happy Fool as well as Diva. And then we got about 20 or 30 sort of gardening type of magazines that I often just kind of scan through and then just throw them at Molly.
Too many gardening ones.
These are available for any of our viewers who are not lady people who love lady people.
Yeah.
Just on this Gentleman Jack article, just a shout out to the writer Rachel Biggs, mum of children, so she's dealing with homeschooling and all the other challenges as well. So anyway,
actually, talking about homeschooling, let's do some internet schooling, and Jana can give us her word of the week.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I don't know if I can say it.
Yeah, of course you can.
Okay, so I don't know if I can say it. So it's it's. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, are you ready? I don't know if I am. Right, here it comes. Flibbity gibbet.
Flibbity gibbet.
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 Yeah.
Flibbity gibbet. What the hell?
Yeah.
Thingamajig.
So it's like it's a tart.
Never heard it. I've been here 151 years in this country, and I never heard a word flibbity gibbet.
My mum used to say flibbity. Oh, we're down the road. She's a flibbity gibbet. Or and another thing my mum used to say. She always used to say she's all fur coat and no knickers.
Brilliant.
I thought, right, okay, so we don't have that word in Ireland either, right? But I just thought it meant like a thingamajig, or as we'd say in Ireland, we'd say a yoke. Put that yoke there.
Yeah, that's a doofer or a doobry firkin or a what's it?
So it says this refers to someone who is silly and who talks incessantly.
Yeah.
The first known usage of this word is the 15th century and used to be spelled flabbergibbet. Flabbergibbet. Flabbergibbet.
Do you know what? I think our second daughter is a flibberty gibbet.
Flibberty gibbet, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yes, she does talk incessantly.
Yeah, I won't embarrass her.
Say I do too.
Oh my God, you're a flibberty gibbet.
I am. Yeah.
Flibberty gibbet. You're flibberty gibbet.
I've been called worse. That's fine. I'll take
the
that.
Irish accent coming out there again, Jana, isn't it?
That was my Scottish.
Oh, right, okay. So apologies to our Indian viewers.
Oh, dear me.
Lovely word of the week.
I love it. Thank you.
It's not the word that we discussed. Did you throw that in as a curveball? Were you trying to?
Well,
Feckless. You were feckless.
Because I felt when I mentioned it that it wasn't a positive word because it wasn't. But let's use it as well. It's feckless. I love the sound of it because it sounds like something a little bit naughty.
You can put our tagline before it. You are not.
Two words, Jana. Now we haven't got one for next week.
Oh, if only there were more words.
Oh,
I was trying to get.
He
might come to you,
Maliki.
He's going to say
Do you
hello.
want to come and say hello to the viewers? No, he doesn't want to. He said,
No. Never record with cats.
Yeah, sorry, people, you're not going to see their pussy. Not
You know
today.
Oh, Frank's here. Frank.
Oh, we'll see Frank.
Hi, everyone. Come
He's
and say
such an awesome.
Hey, Frank.
Oh, hello.
Hey. We were just talking about you.
Look how stunning he is. He is absolutely gorgeous. Oh,
Perfect for therapy.
There you are in the telly box.
Hello. Hey, Frank.
hey, Frankie boy.
Oh,
Oh, he's so
special
cute.
guest.
He's a pet, aren't you,
He's
Frank?
a pain in the hole. Off you go, Frank. Bye.
But you still love him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, remember, if you're struggling, get yourself a pet because that might just help you. But failing that, if you can't have a pet for different reasons, because you live in a flat like we do, or maybe you can't afford one, or you're not allowed one, then text us. Use our text service, and by texting "talk" in capitals to 440. One of the members of the Pride team will be there to support you or point you in the right direction. Is that right, girls?
That's absolutely right. Molly, as well as texting talk 88440, have we got anything else or another helpline that our viewers can contact if they're experiencing difficulties?
Absolutely. So if you are experiencing any kind of domestic violence, especially during lockdown, remember you are still able to leave your home if you are experiencing any sort of domestic violence. You can text Sam to us. Start your message with Sam. It can be anything. It can be, Sam, have you got that pair of shoes we spoke about? Sam, are you free to do this? Anything, as long as you use Sam to start with. And you can text us on 07860 098 551. Start your message with Sam, and we will talk to you back and forth until we can find you some help and support.
Fantastic.
Really good service.
Really good service. So
Especially at the
please use it. And remember, you are not alone, right?
You are not alone. We are here for you.
Absolutely.
So that wraps up
So-
another Girls.
How many days a year are we here for people?
365.
Or 352 if you live in the Republic of Ireland.
No,
Absolutely, yeah.
got it right. If anybody watching would like us to discuss any particular topic or story, please do send us a message. You can message any of us, Lisa, Kel, Molly, Jana at prideinsurrey.org.
Fabulous.
Not together.
Not
Yeah.
together. Just pick one of our first names and then whack it in front of prideinsurrey.org.
No one's ever going to pick Jana because nobody knows how to spell it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you do. That's good.
Okay.
Well, thank you, guys.
Good night, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching. We'll
See
see
you
you next
next time.
See you next
Thank you.
time.
Bye-bye.